Hi, I'm Mrs. D Math. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to go over how to model and solve one-step equations in 7th grade math. So let's get started. So first, we're going to review what you learned in 6th grade and how to solve a one-step equation. Then we're going to build on this process, and in 7th grade, you're going to learn how to solve two-step equations. No matter which kind of equation you're solving, your goal is to always isolate the variable. We're trying to find out what that x or whatever variable is being used to represent the unknown number is, and so we want to ultimately get that on one side of the equal sign by itself. So first we need a key box because we're going to be working with a model here. So in this key box, the green rectangle represents our x and a purple rectangle would represent negative x. The green square is a 1 and the purple square is a negative 1. So let's look at the problem here that we have first, and it shows us that on the left side of that equal sign we have a green rectangle, so that would be an x, and then we have two squares, so that makes two squares, that's a plus 2 because they're positive, and then on the right side we have 8 purple squares, so that would be negative 8. So we would technically just take each one of those individually and add them up to find out our total. So let's first go ahead and solve this without the math problem. So we're just going to solve it based on the picture itself. And so what we want to do is ultimately get the x here by itself. So in order to do that, we want to move these boxes or squares to the other side. And when I say the other side, we're always talking about the equal sign. That's always your center of your problem. You're balancing everything on both sides. So right now we know that this x on the left and the two 1s on the left are equal to the negative 8 1s on the right side. So we want to keep it balanced, but figure out what that x represents. So we first want to get the two positive boxes on this side to the other side, which means essentially we're taking them away. So if I'm taking away those boxes, that's going to be two negative squares or 1s. So now these cancel out. I have a positive and a negative and a positive and a negative. So that's two zero pairs right there. But if I put two negatives on the left side, I have to also put two negatives on the right side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That's how we stay balanced. So now I can see, since these 1s on the left side are gone, the only thing I have left here is now this x right here. And now that x equals all of these negatives on the other side. So in this case, x equals negative 10. So now let's go do this mathematically. So right below that, we have a math sentence. We said x plus 2 equals negative 8. Again, the equal sign is my center of my balance. And so I want to get this x by itself. In order to do that, I need to move this 2 to the other side. In order to get rid of that positive 2, I'm going to subtract 2. And if I subtract 2 from this side, I have to keep it balanced and take away 2 from the other side. So now I have x, because this 2 minus 2 is gone, equals, and negative 8 minus 2 is a negative 10. So again, x equals negative 10 matches up with my original problem written as a drawing. So you can do it either way. When you have a model, you can write out the math equation and solve it, or you can solve it based on the model itself. So also when you start with a model, sometimes it is easier to write the math equation that represents that model and then solve. So that's one reason I'm doing it both ways on this video, where you can see solving the model itself and solving it based on the math problem, because it just depends on what's easiest for you. Again, we have our key box telling us the same information for our problem. And here is our problem this time. Now we have 4 negative x's, and those are going to equal 12 positive 1s. So what we're doing this time is, in order to get the x by itself, we don't want all the x's by themselves. They're already by themselves. We want to get one of these x's technically by itself. So what we're going to have to do is group all of these ones on the right side to where they fit into each of these x's on the left side. So essentially we're taking these 12 boxes and we're breaking them into 4 equal groups. So when we do that, we have one group here. You can go with this first one. Second group goes with this one. Third group can go with this one. And our last group can go with this one. And we can see that each group or each x has 3 ones in it. So that means that each x equals 3. But I have a little situation here because these are all negative x's. And if I have a negative and I combine it or multiply it or divide it in this case with a positive, I'm going to end up with a negative. So I have 3 ones in each negative x. So now x equals a negative 3. So now let's look at this mathematically. So mathematically on the left, I have negative 4x equals 12. So I'm going to have to get this x by itself by doing the opposite of the negative 4. The negative 4 and the x are multiplying, so I am going to divide by negative 4, and if I do it to one side, I have to do the other side. So really, I'm dividing these 12 into negative 4 groups. And so now I can still see that x still equals negative 3. So whether I do it mathematically or visually with the model, I'm still going to have 3 boxes in each negative x. So when I say that, some of you might still be confused, but that means that 3 ones fit in each negative x. But I can't have a negative x. I need a positive x, so that negative has to go to the other side, which means x equals negative 3. So this was just a quick recap on how to model and solve one-step equations. Technically, these are 6th grade math. If you want to see more videos that go over solving one-step equations, I do have those videos under the 6th grade math content, so you can find those on my channel. I am Mrs. D Math. Thanks for joining me today for modeling and solving one-step equations in 7th grade math. Have a great day. Bye.